Hey everybody, well there it is folks. Argentina is selling all of their soybeans to China now because of the tariffs that Trump has initiated against other countries. And it's not that Trump has initiated tariffs on soybeans to China or anything like that. It's just China's like, we don't need you. So there it is, $47 billion that would have gone to the 500,000 American soybean farmers are now going to Argentina. Now, American farmers, almost 80% of them voted for Trump. So if you have 500,000 soybean farmers, that means 400,000 of them who are now on the verge of going bankrupt voted for Trump. And I saw in another TikTok video, I'm not prepared to talk about it, but this guy was really good. I really should give him a shout out. I will in the notes or something. He came across my feed that there's this company called Acre Trader. And guess what they specialize in? They specialize in buying up distressed farms. Guess who's a major shareholder in that? J.D. Vance. So,
you don't say.
While America is giving $20 billion to Argentina to prop up their government, American farmers are out of almost $50 billion. Not a single Chinese order has been cut on soybean farms this year. It's absolutely incredible. And Trump is destroying the American farmer.
You don't say.
It's just crazy.
That was back in September of 2025. Let's keep on going.
American farmers that voted for Trump are going bankrupt. 88% of farmers voted for Trump in 2016, and he bankrupted them by 2019. However, in 2024, 78% still voted for Trump again. Now, one-third of them are going bankrupt and said their families will be homeless.
If he bankrupted them the first time, why would they vote for him a second time?
Nobody knows why, but they say the tariffs with other countries are severely hurting them. No one even has the money to buy their crops anymore. And now that immigrants have been deported, no Americans want to do the job. Now all the farmers are asking for a government handout, but nobody cares. Because they're saying, why in the heck would you vote for the same guy that bankrupted you? Farmers are now saying they regret their vote, but they're begging Trump for help.
So they voted against their own self-interest, paid the price, and are now sad and want to reverse it?
It's too late to reverse it because they said they're deep in the red and their numbers are down 50% more than it was 3 years ago. The last trade war Trump started with China made them lose 71% of their profits, and that this one's going to be much worse. So now they're asking people for their tax money so they can stay in business. Why does nobody care?
Because who would feel sympathy for somebody who was willing to harm other people because they thought they wouldn't be affected, and now that they're getting harmed, they want that same sympathy from those other
That's
people.
what everybody was saying, but Bill Gates was seen sitting with Trump a week ago. And Bill Gates owns the most farmland in America by far. Speculated Bill Gates is going to buy the people that go bankrupt.
Bill Gates?
It's too late! That also owns most of the U.S. farmland 2025! It's $5 billion.
That was extreme, but, well, at the end, it was extreme. But at the same time, in that little short period of time, it was a lot of facts that were being dropped. Let's move on one more time.
All these damn illegal aliens taking over American jobs, it ain't right because they're all criminals, you know. That's why we need a strong leader that'll put Americans first. That's why I voted for him, because he said he's going to deport all them illegal aliens, okay? Because I'm a proud American farmer. I don't need no illegal immigrants taking over my jobs. Ain't that right, Jose?
Okay.
Jose? Juan? Pedro? Where did y'all go? Hey, where did they go? They left. Why did they leave? They got work to do. Because they were illegal, and you voted for the guy that wants to deport them. Not really the most stable working environment. What? But I need their cheap labor to make my thin profit margins to make sense financially. Well, you should have thought about that, because now you're going to have to hire Americans, and they're going to unionize and ask for higher wages and eat into those profit margins. Are you saying that I have to face the consequences of my own actions? Because we can't afford this. We're all going to be bankrupt in 2 quarters. Funny how life works that way.
Hilarious, because I thought it was a voiceover that he was doing, and then it went on, and I just didn't expect the turn the camera And talking about Jose. Ain't that right, Jose? Okay, that was actually funny. All right, so all these TikTok videos were back in 2025. Let's bring it up to 2026 and see what is going on, because apparently it has gotten even worse. So this article was published 4 days ago from Agriculture, GV Wire, and this is their agriculture segment. So basically it's saying farmers nationwide unite to say federal help not fast enough to stop industry collapse. Let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and skim over this. But if you are new here, welcome back to Life Be Lifin', where we discuss real financial activities that happens that affects us, all of us. So farming definitely affects us because we all eat. If something happens to them financially, affects what we eat, how we eat, and all the above. So in a desperate plea, growers of the nation's fruit, vegetables, nuts, and flowers came together. That ain't me, y'all, that's them. To say they face the same existential threats and the federal government needs to step in before it's too late. 56 trade groups co-signed a letter to the U.S. Congress members saying that while significant investment in the One Big Beautiful Bill provide much needed financial relief, the execution of these programs in the late 2026 won't be soon enough to stave off the consequences of record high input costs, restricting foreign markets, and historically low prices. The CEO of National Executive Council says growers of the nation's 300 different commodities need $5 billion injected to prevent widespread bankruptcies that will occur before relief comes through. Basically saying we need more money, we need federal relief, inject money. When not so long ago, when they were voting for the president, they were ridiculing and going after those who are on government assistance, but they need government assistance, and all of a sudden it's fine. Interesting. Ultimately, if you got farms going bankrupt, that's all going to hit this affordability issue. It's going to create validity in terms of our food security and come back and hit consumers. This isn't just an issue for the growers, it's the entire supply chain. Basically, it's higher costs, lower demand, collapsing farm incomes. Because the US has some trade deals when it comes to certain like farming, agriculture, niches, categories that are outsourced, which makes sense. All companies, does this. The companies that Trump unfortunately has embarrassed or has tried to act a bully to, they're not going with this. So they said instead of us continuing with what's going on now, we rather just step back and not, purchase anything from you at all. So, the whole back and forth tariff thing that we have been going through for over a year now. So now it's lower demand because those farmers don't have someone to sell to because those people outside of the country are not purchasing. Whew, girl, it's a lot. So rising costs over the last 4 years, coupled with low commodity prices, have caused many growers to operate on negative margins, with cumulative industry losses from 2023 to 2026 predicted to be $100 billion nationwide. Recognizing the threat, the U.S. Department of Agriculture scraped together $12 billion from the Farmer Bridge Association program to support farmers. Of that money, however, $11 billion goes to the nation's program's crops, corn, soy, and wheat, leaving only $1 billion to be divided amongst the nation's roughest 220,000 specialty crop farms. That is crazy work. Crazy. So I'm pretty sure corn, soy, and wheat have the most profit margins. That's what I'm guessing, because how in the world you give them 11 billion and you only give 1 billion to everything else? Make it make sense. Despite generating more than $75 billion in annual farm gate value, over 1/3 of all U.S. crop sales specialty crops producers operate with far fewer risk management and safety net tools than other farmers. The result is a widened cost to revenue gap that is placing broad swaths of the specialty crop economy under severe financial strains. Basically, that's literally what I just said, to where there must be more profit in the other ones that have the 11 billion compared to the one with 1 billion. A deep look at 6 crops, almonds, apples, blueberries, lettuce, potatoes, and strawberries, showed negative margins totaling $6.8 billion amongst those 6. Many growers don't have the money for this year's planting. The Coalition of Farming Groups estimate $5 billion would sustain growers until the relief comes in at the end of the year from the president's One Beautiful Big Bill, meaning growers have to rely on outdated programs. The problem, though, is that Congress is trying to close out its fiscal year 2026 spending bill. The remaining of that government shutdown, legislators did not include the $5 billion into any of those bills. So the prospects of getting that $5 billion have become dim. Farm bankruptcies in recent years have levels not seen in decades. And once those farms shut down, it sends a ripple effect into consumer prices. That encourages more foreign imports of agricultural goods, which is exactly counter to what the administration is seeking to do. All of this is literally making my blood boil because we're all just trying to live a life. We didn't ask to be here. We're just trying to live. But yet, every year is something to where the basic needs cannot be met. Rent keeps on going up. Simple things that should kind of be affordable. You know, I'm not saying it should be free to get blueberries from Peru in Orlando, Florida. I'm not saying that. Obviously, it takes labor, it takes air traffic, it takes all of that in order for those blueberries to arrive. But at the same time, for it to continuously increase so much for no reason doesn't make any sense. And at this point, I'm trying to figure out where is the silver line between it's actually something that no one can help compared to when it's actually manufactured price gouging. That's what I'm trying to figure out, because a lot of times I feel like a lot of these things are manufactured, right? Tariffs are putting pressure on costs. So not necessary. And this is the problem I have with this, because tariff is now in place and it's putting so much pressure on costs. Those costs are not going to come down if tariffs come down. That's the problem I have. Nothing is going to go back being stabilized. They're always going to just keep it high because at this point they know they can, right? Like, who's going to check them? Who? You understand? And that's the problem, where there's no checks and balances when it comes to certain activities. If you know majority of your people are not able to afford the bare minimum, why keep it high for no reason? All right, well, now it's already up. We're going to bring the wages up. Why don't you just bring the price back down? I'm not saying don't pay people the rate that they deserve. Certainly do, but keep on bringing wages up just to keep on increasing how much things cost doesn't make any sense. But I think because everybody does their own thing, so people, instead of just trying to police each company to keep it within a certain bracket in order for regular people to afford the basics, they're saying basically we can't force private companies to do certain things because they're private, so we're going to just bring the minimum wage higher, which at the point is like, Like, does it really matter? Does it really help anything? Because everything is still going to be outdated, and then there are going to be those pockets of the country or of the world that still can't afford, and prices still going up. So what's really good? Farm bankruptcies rise. According to Mitchell, there are 293 farm bankruptcies in the U.S. in 2025 through last September. That's a lot of bankruptcies for farming sector alone. That's a lot, because I don't even think there's a lot of farming, companies. Because I think there are only a couple, like there's only a select few that are actually working and profitable. So for it to go to almost 300 farmers that filed bankruptcy is crazy. In Wisconsin, we had 13 farm bankruptcies last year. He said those numbers are up from 2024. For every farm who went through bankruptcy, there are 10 times as many farms that reorganized their debt. That's what I'm saying. It's like the ones that actually filed for bankruptcies are the ones that really couldn't do it anymore. This was the last resort for them. So there are some that really trying to make ends meet with what they got. Basically, farmers are in debt. Who else? Who else is not in debt? We got farmers in debt. We have cosmetic companies in debt going into bankruptcy. We have the housing markets that is trash, and a lot of people cannot afford the average medium house price. It's just so much going on. And this is on newsnation.com, where it says farmers worst year since 1980s. So yes, let me know what you guys think of this topic. Are you guys seeing the increase in the stores, or are you guys just at this point saying it is what it is? Did eggs price ever come down? I'm curious. Let me know down below. With that being said, I thank you guys so much for watching Life Be Lifing, because it does. It does, and it is. I'll see you guys in the next video.